Good evening, everyone. It being 7:30 on Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, let's begin our meeting of the Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing while we have a moment of silence for all those who serve in our military at home and abroad and for their families. Thank you. Clerk Smew, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilor Baraka?
Here.
Councilor Flaherty?
Here.
Councilor Hume?
Here.
Councilor Mackin, roll call for attendance. Councilor Maglio?
Here.
Councilor O'Brien?
Present.
Councilor Reynolds?
Here.
Councilor Ringus?
Here.
Councilor Ryan?
Here.
All present.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. We do have counselors participating remotely this evening, Councilor Mackin, Councilor O'Brien, and Councilor Ryan, and therefore all votes will be by roll call. All right, we'll be moving on to our announcements. I do want to say congratulations and thank you to the Marge Crispin Center. Their 50th anniversary celebration was last week. Ann Toland and Pat Conrad received commendations from, among many others, the Town Council for their devotion and dedication to the mission of the Crispin Center and to the residents of Braintree. So thank you again to the Crispin Center and all the volunteers that keep that center running. And we will have Ann Toland here at our next meeting to give us their update for their holiday programs. And anybody who needs assistance or wants more information about the Crispin Center, it's, I believe, margecrispincenter.org. Any other announcements from councilors? Councilor Flaherty.
I would just like to congratulate the people who organized the Mid-Autumn Festival. It was a massive success. The Chinese American Association of Braintree and the Braintree Recreation Department put on a real humdinger with lots of food and so much entertainment, many, many talented kids and adults, and lots of opportunities to get to know various businesses and community organizations. It was really a wonderful day, and we were lucky to have great weather to boot, so I enjoyed it very much, and I hope it can become an annual tradition.
Thank you. Any other announcements from councilors? Okay, I have two announcements from the mayor's office for fun Halloween activities for families coming up. So we're going to have the first annual Trunk or Treat that will also be sponsored by Mayor Kokoros and the Braintree Recreation Department. That is going to be on Saturday, October 28th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Braintree High School parking lot. Thanks to Councilor Flaherty, the council will also have a car trunk with goodies. So please come out and participate. And then the prior weekend, Halloween Flick Nights, Friday, October 20th. The screening of A Nightmare Before Christmas will be at the Braintree Golf Course. And again, thank you to Mayor Kokoros, Braintree Rec, and the Braintree Municipal Golf Course for hosting this event. That is going to begin at 7 p.m. And again, at the Braintree Golf Course, and there will be food and drinks for purchase if you want to partake. So thank you very much. Lots of fun events coming up in town. All right. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. At our last meeting, we did have to table the minutes of May 30th. So first I'll ask, is there a motion to take off the table the minutes of May 30th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call to take off the table.
Councilor Baraka?
Yes.
Councilor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin? I'm sorry, Councilor Mackin, could you repeat that?
Aye.
Thank you. Counselor Maglio? Aye. Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And now, is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 30th, 2023, and the minutes of June 6th, 2023?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, Counselors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call to approve the minutes, please.
Counselor Barica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Aye.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. All right, our first item on old business this evening is 23051, Town Council zoning ordinance text amendment related to tree protection, amend sections 135-702, landscape and buffer zones, amend section 135-711C3H, or take up any action relative thereto. There is a small revision being requested to the text of this amendment, and thank you to the resident who brought that to our attention. We are happy to look into that further. So if I could get a motion to table this order, we will take it up at another meeting, next meeting.
Second?
Hold on just a minute, sorry, we're going to open the
Oh,
public
we have-
hearing.
oh, I'm
and
sorry, I
continue it
apologize.
To October 17th, 2023 at 7:30 PM.
Thank you very much, Clerk Semino, for that correction. Okay, so we first need to open the public hearing, and then we will table. So is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you again, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call to open the public hearing.
Counselor Barica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. And now is there a motion to table? Do we have to give a date
To
certain?
continue.
To continue.
To
Thank
date
you.
certain.
I apologize. To continue to a date certain, which is October 17th, 2023. Thank you, Counselor Hume, for your help.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, Counselors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call to continue.
Yes. Counselor Barica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. All right, moving on. We have a series of National Grid petitions. We do need to take each of them up separately. So we'll start with 23056, National Grid Petition 142 to 204 Hobart Street, or take up any action relative thereto. Clerk Semino, is Counselor...
It will be Vice Chair Flaherty.
Vice Chair Flaherty can give the recommendation of the DPW committee, please.
The recommendation of the DPW committee is is favorable for all four of these motions.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the mayor's office or National Grid who wishes to speak on these this evening? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion for order 23056? Yes, Councilor Flaherty.
Well,
I
wanted to-
apologize.
That's okay. I wanted to add that the work that's being done for this is to replace quite aged infrastructure that's underneath our roads. Some of these pipes are from 1957, 1913, and I think it's really proactive for us to handle things this way and repair things while the roads under consideration are not under moratorium, so that when we repave them, the work will have already been done. So this is the way that we should be doing this work, and I'm glad that we're going to be doing it like this, and there's a better system than ever to notify residents of when and where the work will be done. So they can look forward to being notified if they're affected.
Thank you for that additional information. Anybody else? Counselor Maglio?
I have a quick question. What is the system to notify people?
The DPW provides construction notifications to the clerk of the council, who sends those out to counselors, all counselors, regardless of whether it's in a particular district or not. And they've started this just recently,
Okay.
but they're going to fold in all this National Grid work moving forward.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Director Arsenal, did you want to add anything? Okay.
37 Coach Road. Yeah, so we also, in addition, they give notices out. They post it, and they also send out notices too, so, to the residents. So.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Is there a motion for 23056, National Grid Petition 142 to 204 Hobart Street, or take up any action relative thereto?
The motion is to relay approximately 200 feet of 2-inch coated steel in 1957 and approximately 580 feet of 2-inch bar steel, 1941 to 1948, with approximately 780 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Hobart Street from the existing 2-inch plastic from 2002 at house number 142 to the end of main at house number 204 with staff recommendations. Beld has no conflicts with this location. DPW. The DPW has reviewed the subject petition and the accompanying plans for the gas main replacement on Hobart Street. The work is being proposed as part of a program to eliminate aging gas infrastructure. Hobart Street is not subject to the excavation, moratorium, having been resurfaced by total reconstruction in 2003. As such, the DPW recommends that the petition approval contain the following conditions if it is to be so granted. A temporary patch shall be placed immediately after the work. The street excavation should be saw cut, backfilled, and compacted in 8-inch lifts, paved to match existing asphalt depth with a minimum depth of 4 inches, and 2-inch lifts to match the existing street grade. After maintaining the temporary patch through one winter, National Grid must return the following spring to perform a permanent trench repair on all disturbed roadway segments. The permanent patch should be an 8-foot wide mill and overlay to a pavement depth of 1.5 inches. If the edge of the permanent patch falls within 2 feet of the roadway gutter, the patch should be extended completely to the roadway edge. Tack coat should be applied to milled surfaces and joints prior to paving. Finished joints should be treated with a rubberized asphalt sealer. We also recommend that the following requirements be added to the permit if it is to be granted. National Grid must arrange a pre-construction meeting with Braintree DPW and Braintree Police Department to discuss utility corridor assignments as well as traffic control for the project. The new gas mains must not encroach on any existing utilities. Neither National Grid nor any of its contractors is authorized to close any street or to close a direction of travel to facilitate their work without authorization from the Director of Department of Public Works or the Highway Superintendent. The Chief of Police can also authorize a closure for a police or fire emergency. Construction zone traffic safety issues are to be addressed by using appropriate traffic control signals and devices and the use of police officers for traffic control to safely guide traffic through the work zone. If a closure is authorized by the DPW, it shall not be implemented until signs and police officers, where needed, are properly in place in conformity with the written plan prepared by the contractor's engineer and approved by the DPW and Police Department. So moved.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please, for Hobart Street.
Counselor Verica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Aye.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio? Aye. Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our next National Grid petition, 23057. National Grid petition, Parkside Circle, Gale Ave, Rita Road, or take up any action relative thereto. Councilor Flaherty already provided the recommendation of the DPW committee, so I will ask again if there's anybody who has questions or anybody from the mayor's office or National Grid. Okay, seeing none. Could we have a motion for 23057, please?
Did you
Do
give
you have it?
recommendation on both orders, or just
She
the
gave
first
all
one?
three, yeah.
Okay. All right, the motion is relay approximately 145 feet of 2-inch bar steel from 1948 with approximately 145 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Parkside Ave from the existing 2-inch plastic 2008 at house number 157 to the end of main at house number 174. Relay approximately 750 feet of 2-inch bar steel from 1941 and approximately 310 feet of 2-inch coated steel 1960 to 1970 with approximately 1,025 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Parkside Circle from the existing 2-inch plastic 2008 at house number 3 to the end of main at house number 77. Relay approximately 330 feet of 2-inch coated steel 1960 with approximately 330 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Gale Ave from Parkside Circle to the end of main at house 31. Relay approximately 730 feet of 2-inch coated steel 1961 with approximately 730 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Reeder Road from Gale Ave to the end of main at house number 75, all with staff recommendations. Beld has no conflicts with locations stated below: Parkside Avenue, Parkside Circle, Gale Avenue, Reeder Road. DPW, the DPW has reviewed the subject petition and the accompanying plans for the gas main replacement on portions of Parkside Ave, Parkside Circle, Gale Ave, and Reeder Road. The work is being proposed as part of a program to eliminate aging gas infrastructure. None of the roadways are subject to the excavation moratorium, having all been surfaced by overlay in 2011 or earlier. As such, the DPW recommends that the petition approved contain the following conditions if it is so to be granted. A temporary patch shall be placed immediately after the work. The street excavation should be saw cut, backfilled, and compacted in 8-inch lifts, paved to match existing asphalt depth, with a minimum depth of 4 inches, and 2-inch lifts to match the existing street grade. After maintaining the temporary patch through one winter, National Grid must return the following spring to perform a permanent trench repair on all disturbed roadway segments. The permanent patch should be an 8-foot wide mill and overlay to a pavement depth of 1.5 inches. If the edge of the permanent patch falls within 2 feet of the roadway gutter, the patch should be extended completely to the roadway edge. Tack coat should be applied to milled surfaces and joints prior to paving. Finished joints should be treated with a rubberized asphalt sealer. We also recommend that the following requirements be added to the permit. If it is to be granted, National Grid must arrange a pre-construction meeting with Braintree DPW and Braintree Police Department to discuss utility corridor assignments as well as traffic control for the project. The new gas mains must not encroach on any existing utilities. Neither National Grid nor any of its contractors is authorized to close any street or to close a direction of travel to facilitate their work without authorization from the Director of the Department of Public Works or the Highway Superintendent. The Chief of Police can also authorize a closure for a police or fire emergency. Construction zone traffic safety issues are to be addressed by using appropriate traffic control signals and devices and the use of police officers for traffic control to safely guide traffic through the work zone. If a closure is authorized by the DPW, it shall not be implemented until signs and police officers, where needed, are properly in place in conformity with the written plan prepared by contractor's engineer and approved by the DPW and Police Department. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, moving on. 23062, National Grid petition, Howard Court, Howard Street, or take up any action relative thereto. Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
To relay approximately, now I know why Council Ryan's not here. Relay approximately 220 feet of 1.5-inch bar steel 1913 with approximately 220 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main in Howard Court from Howard Street to the end of Main at house number 20 with staff recommendations. Beld. Beld has no conflicts with locations stated below, 7 to 20 Howard Court. DPW. The DPW has reviewed the subject petition and the accompanying plans for the gas main replacement on Howard Court. The work is being proposed as part of a program to eliminate aging gas infrastructure. Howard Court is not subject to the excavation moratorium, having been resurfaced by total reconstruction in 2001. As such, the DPW recommends that the petition approval contain the following conditions if it is to be so granted. A temporary patch shall be placed immediately after the work. The street excavation should be saw cut, backfilled, and compacted in 8-inch lifts paved to match existing asphalt depth with a minimum depth of 4 inches and 2-inch lifts to match the existing street grade. After maintaining the temporary patch through one winter, National Grid must return the following spring to perform a permanent trench repair on all disturbed roadway segments. The permanent patch should be an 8-foot wide mill and overlay to a pavement depth of 1.5 inches. If the edge of the permanent patch falls within 2 feet of the roadway gutter, the patch should be extended completely to the roadway edge. Tack coat should be applied to milled surfaces and joints prior to paving. Finished joints should be treated with a rubberized asphalt sealer. We also recommend that the following requirements be added to the permit if it is to be granted. National Grid must arrange a pre-construction meeting with Braintree DPW and Braintree Police Department to discuss utility corridor assignment as well as traffic control for the project. The new gas mains must not encroach on any existing utilities. Neither National Grid nor any of its contractors is authorized to close any street or to close a direction of travel to facilitate their work without authorization from the Director of the Department of Public Works or the Highway Superintendent. The Chief of Police can also authorize a closure for a police or fire emergency. Construction zone traffic safety issues are to be addressed by using appropriate traffic control signs and devices and the use of police officers for traffic control to safely guide traffic through the work zone. If a closure is authorized by the DPW, it shall not be implemented till signs and police officers, where needed, are properly in place in conformity with the written plan prepared by the and approved by the DPW and police departments. So moved.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Barica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much, Clerk Semino. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is 23063, resident petition, 159 Hawthorne Road, or take up any action relative thereto. I will turn again to Councilor Flaherty, the Vice Chair of the DPW Committee, for their recommendation.
The committee voted unanimously to make a positive recommendation for this motion.
Thank you very much. And is there anyone from the DPW Department or Mayor's Office who would like to speak on this?
Sure, this Jim Arsenal again. So it was a resident that wanted to modify or change the curbing. So we, I think we feel comfortable that, or the council felt comfortable that it would be taken care of properly, so.
Thank you very much. And is Mr. Longi, if you're here, would you like to, I apologize, Chief of Staff LaForest.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just was going to make note that the resident
Yes.
was here. Thank
If
you.
you would like to approach the council and say anything on behalf of this petition, you're more than welcome to. If you can just speak into the microphone, thank you, and state your name and address for the record.
Joe Alongi at 159 Hawthorne Road, Braintree. And I met earlier, and we had a great discussion, and like I told them, not going to do anything unless it's 100% correct, because it's my house, and I've put a lot of money into it already, and I want the street to look great when it's done. I met with the contractor today, and I told him those exact words. If it's not 100%, I'm going to have somebody else do it, so,
Thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you for being here.
Yep.
Councilor Hume?
I have a question for the DPW Director, if we could.
Yep.
Any issues with this road being recently repaved with the work that's being done here? Do you have any concerns other than what's,
Well, that's why we put it as conditions in there, that if there was any changes that we weren't satisfied with, they would have to come in and repair it, so.
okay. But no, like, major disruption to the street with this work?
I would, the contractor should be able to take care of it. It's just the curbing, it's changed, it isn't like it's just the curb itself, it's not into the roadway or anything like that, so they should be able to address it, but, we'll be on top of them, and if we see anything, that's not satisfactory, we'll make sure it's addressed.
Okay.
It's in the conditions.
Yep. So does your office review this after the work is done, or at what point does that?
Yes, we would definitely check this work to make sure it's done properly. So.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll probably see it anyway, it drives by there a lot, so. So.
All right.
Any further questions?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm good.
Any other counselors have questions? Counselor Reynolds?
Thank you, pardon me. Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the DPW for their consideration to help out Mr. Alongi. Hawthorne Road is located in my district. I greatly appreciate that the safety of the residents is being considered and is the priority here. So again, thank you very much. And I'd look forward to future conversations as it pertains to that road and the construction and traffic calming measures in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Counselor Reynolds. For folks who are watching at home, residents who want to make a small change to the public way have to put a petition in through the town council, through our clerk of the council, which is what Mr. Alongi did, and that is why we are here this evening. So I also want to say thank you to our DPW staff and to our clerk of the council for her assistance in shepherding this motion through. Definitely there list of conditions that you will hear that our DPW is going to require should this motion pass, and what Mr. Alongi has alluded to that he agrees to do. The cost will be borne by the resident, and I'm definitely in full support of this evening if we can make it a little easier for residents in a way that is going to take care of our streets and sidewalks with the oversight of our DPW. I'm definitely happy to support that this evening. So thank you to the team for helping to make that happen. Clerk Semino.
Counselor Ryan has his hand raised. 1 minute. Counselor Ryan, did you want to speak? Go right ahead.
So we met with the resident earlier this evening, and he laid out a very detailed plan for making this curb cut to make his driveway wider. So it was a very thought out plan, and they're going to put the street back together in a good shape, so I fully support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Ryan. Any other counselors, questions or comments? Counselor Flaherty?
I will comment that I was impressed with Mr. Alongi's commitment, the pride of ownership that he has for his property, and his commitment to really ensuring that the process is overseen properly, that the stipulations that are put forward in this motion are adhered to the letter and the spirit both, and I have a lot of confidence that he will make certain that each stipulation is carried out properly, and that is why it has my support tonight.
Thank you, Counselor Flaherty. Do we have a motion?
There is a motion. To allow resident at 159 Hawthorne Road to remove the sidewalk curbing in order to widen the driveway with staff recommendations. Beld has no conflicts with the location stated below at 159 Hawthorne Road. DPW. The DPW has reviewed the subject resident petition to widen the driveway at 159 Hawthorne Road. Hawthorne Road is subject to the excavation moratorium having been resurfaced by Mill and Overlay in 2022. New sidewalks and granite curbing were also installed as part of the resurfacing project. As such, the DPW recommends that if the petition is approved, it contains the following conditions. The applicant shall employ a town-approved contractor to perform the work. The contractor shall be qualified to make precision permanent repairs to new asphalt surfaces. The roadway shall be squarely saw cut no more than 18 inches from the face of the granite curbing to facilitate removal of the granite curbing to widen the driveway. Existing granite shall be reused and reset wherever possible and set in concrete per DPW specifications. New asphalt area within the town right-of-way shall be replaced with no less than 3 inches of asphalt placed in 2 1.5-inch lifts. Existing grades and surfaces shall be matched seamlessly at all asphalt joint locations. All vertical joint surfaces shall be painted with tack coat prior to paving and treated with a rubberized crack sealer on the final paved surface. The contractor shall ensure that the newly laid sidewalk and driveway apron areas are ADA compliant. The Braintree DPW shall reserve the right to reject the work and require replacement if it does not meet quality standards. We also recommend that the following requirements be added to the permit if it is to be granted. No contractor is authorized to close any street or to close a direction of travel to facilitate their work without authorization from the Director of Department of Public Works or the Highway Superintendent. The Chief of Police can also authorize a closure for a police or fire emergency. Construction zone traffic safety issues are to be addressed by using appropriate traffic control signs and devices and the use of police officers for traffic control to safely guide traffic through the work zone. If a closure is authorized by the DPW, it shall not be implemented until signs and police officers, where needed, are properly in place in conformity with the written plan prepared by the contractor's engineer and approved by the DPW and Police Department. So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Baraka.
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty.
Aye.
Counselor Hume.
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Counselor Maglio.
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien.
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Alonji. All right, our next item of business this evening, 23059, Mayor, Transportation Infrastructure Enhancement Trust Fund, or take up any action relative thereto. This is a public hearing, so we first need to open the public hearing, and then we will take comments and questions, and then we will close the public hearing, and then we will vote. So with that, do we have a motion to open the public hearing for Order 23059? Thank you. Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call to open the public hearing.
Counselor Baraka.
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty.
Yes.
Counselor Hume.
That's fine.
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Counselor Maglio.
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien. Counselor Reynolds.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much, and I do want to recognize our Finance Director, Ed Spellman, is here with us this evening, and I will turn now to the Chair of our Ways and Means Committee, Councilor Reynolds, for that committee's recommendation.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ways and Means Committee met last evening and unanimously recommended favorable action.
Thank you very much. And Chief of Staff LaForest, I see you at the podium. Please feel free to bring the mayor's perspective.
Thank you. Just always grateful to be receiving money from the Commonwealth. Before you is a motion to, the funds have actually been received, to appropriate them to the Department of Public Works for traffic mitigation measures, the amount of $38,024.50. I provided to you the 2022 rideshare data report showing 380,245 kind of Uber Lyft trips initiated in Braintree. It's a over 29% increase year over year from last year, and just under 90,000 of those rides started and ended within the town. So obviously recommend a favorable recommendation as well. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the council? I have one question, Chief of Staff LaForest. I noticed in the paperwork we received that I believe a report is due at year end as to how the money is spent. Is that something the council could get for 22, for last year's?
Thank you, Madam President. I did put that request in. Clerk Semino submitted that, and I do
Thank you.
have that pending to Director Arsenault. I don't myself have it received from the department yet for you, but the request is pending.
Fantastic, that's great. And I know that the director was at Ways and Means last night and provided an overview of what that's used for. And anything we can do to improve our roads in town is always welcome. So we'll definitely be supporting this. Anyone else?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call for close the public hearing.
Counselor Baraka,
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty,
Yes.
Counselor Hume,
Aye.
Counselor Mackin. Aye. Counselor Maglio.
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien.
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds.
Aye.
Counselor Ringus.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan. Counselor Ryan to close the public hearing.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. And now, is there a motion?
Motion that the sum of $38,024.50 received from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Transportation Infrastructure Enhancement Trust Fund be appropriated to the Department of Public Works to be spent in accordance with Statute 2016, Chapter 187, Section 8C I. It's an I, right? Not a 1.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Baraka,
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty,
Yes.
Counselor Hume,
Aye.
Counselor Mackin.
Aye.
Counselor Maglio,
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien,
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds,
Aye.
Counselor Ringus,
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on. 23060, Mayor, opioid settlement funds or take up any action relative thereto. Again, I will refer to Chairman Reynolds of the Ways and Means Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. Last evening, the Ways and Means Committee met to review this for a recommendation of the full council. It voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you very much, Councilor Reynolds. Chief of Staff LaForest, I will turn the floor to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Just prior point of clarification, Director Arsenault did send that over to Clerk Semino earlier today. And I just
Fantastic.
re-forwarded to you, Madam President, so that
Thank
it
you.
is in your inbox, so that information, that report is complete. So before us at this point is the opioid funding. As you know, in 2018, the town offered legal action against the opiate manufacturers and later joined with the statewide settlement that is before us for FY24 to receive $117,397.92. This is going to come in the form of multiple payments. As you know, the Opiate Task Force was formed last year, has been doing great work, and I believe, Clerk Semino, I don't know that we've settled on a date, but we have talked about getting a meeting for you. I believe we're shooting for October 17th. I don't know if that's yet confirmed, but that is pending for you, and appreciate your acceptance of these funds.
Thank you very much, Chief of Staff LaForest. Any counselors have questions or comments? Okay. With that, is there a motion?
Motion that the town vote to appropriate $117,397.92 from the Massachusetts State Subdivision for statewide opioid settlement funds to be expended in accordance with the policies set forth therein or take up any action relative thereto.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Baraka,
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty,
Aye.
Counselor Hume,
Aye.
Counselor Mackin,
Aye.
Counselor Maglio,
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien,
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds,
Aye.
Counselor Ringus,
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on now to our appointments to our boards and commissions this evening, and I want to say thank you to the residents who are in attendance for sticking with us tonight. I appreciate your patience, and thank you for being here. So first up, we have 23064, Mayor, appointment of Carl Johnson to the Braintree Historical Commission or take up any action relative thereto. Before I get to the podium, I'm going to turn to Councilor Reynolds, Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, who reviews our appointments.
Thank you, Madam President. Last evening, the Ways and Means Committee met to review this order and voted unanimously in favor for a recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councilor Reynolds. Chief of Staff LaForest?
Thank you, Madam President. I am sure to each member of the council, Carl Johnson is a familiar figure around town. He is a consummate professional. He is a frequent flyer here at Town Hall for many of the boards and commissions. He has extensive service in our community and is looking to serve on our historic commission I know other commissioners have been after him for a while for his service on this board. This is his second time serving on the Historic Commission, and he is with us this evening.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, would you like to say anything?
Not really, but as
Welcome.
I said, this is the second time around, and I think I can add to the commission. I'm familiar with Chapter 40C, Historic District Commission, as well as the new Historical Commission, which oversees that now. But I think I have something to add, and if I don't do it, Ron Frazier's not going to leave me alone for another 2 years. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve again. Thank you.
Thank you for your willingness to do so. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Johnston. Any counselors have any comments or questions? Oh, Clerk Semino?
Counselor Ryan would like to speak.
Counselor Ryan, you have the floor.
Counselor Ryan, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say I fully support Carl Johnson being appointed to the Historical Commission. He brings so much knowledge of the town. He's been an example to me since I've been involved with the town of Braintree for a very long time, so I'm very happy to see Carl stepping forward to volunteering for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Reynolds.
Oh,
Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Counselor Reynolds. I was looking at you. Thank you, Counselor Ryan. Oh, anyone else have a Counselor Reynolds?
Thank you,
Thank
Madam
you for your help.
President. I too have known Carl Johnson since my youth. We lived in the same neighborhood, and I know through the years I've developed a very a great professional relationship as well as a personal relationship. And what I know about Carl Johnson is that he's got a deep love and appreciation for history, particularly for the history of Braintree. He has just an incredible amount of knowledge and perspective on things that have happened in the past in this community, and as well as many other topics we've talked about from a historical standpoint. His resume is impeccable in terms of his service on this committee. They will be well served by Mr. Johnson. This is his second go-around on this committee. So I say thank you, Mr. Johnson, again, for bringing your talents and treasures to the community.
Thank you, Counselor Reynolds. Any other counselors? Counselor Hume.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Johnson, your family, the Johnson family is just a part of history of Braintree. We have the Johnson Chambers upstairs. I fully support this appointment. Great addition to this commission, and his wealth of knowledge for the town and the history of the town will be well served on this committee. So thank you for serving and offering. Appreciate it.
Counselor Flaherty?
I certainly supported this in committee last night, and I will support it again today. But I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Johnson and to the entire commission for doing the work that it takes to preserve this town's history. It's really important to residents that we make an effort to do that. And if we don't do it intentionally and carefully, it won't get done. And I think that Mr. Johnson has just the right kind of constitution to be able to do that, and I'm grateful to him for his service.
Thank you very much, Counselor Flaherty. I will echo the sentiments of my colleagues and thank you for your willingness to serve. I am fully in support of this appointment this evening, and to all of the members of our boards and commissions who are volunteers in our community giving their time to do their best for Braintree. It is with a lot of gratitude that I know I sit up here for anybody who's willing to serve. So thank you, Mr. Johnson, for being that person in the Historical Commission. Is there a motion?
A motion upon the request of His Honor, the Mayor, the Town of Braintree, through the Braintree Town Council in accordance with Sections 3-3 of the Charter of the Town of Braintree to approve the appointment of Carl Johnson to the Braintree Historical Commission. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Aye.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. If it is okay with my colleagues, I would suggest, I believe Mr. Schrieffer is here with us this evening. I would like to suggest taking the agenda out of order and taking up Mr. Schrieffer's appointment next. And again, thank you for sticking with us tonight, Mr. Schrieffer. We appreciate you being here this evening. So this is 23, no objections? Okay. 23066, Mayor, appointment of Will Schrieffer to the Conservation Commission, or take up any action relative thereto. Chairman Reynolds, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Last evening, the Ways and Means Committee met and on this item and voted unanimously in favor of a recommendation.
Thank you very much. Chief of Staff LaForest, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. As you see before you with Mr. Schrieffer's resume, he has extensive relevant experience to the Conservation Commission with a bachelor's degree in civil and environmental engineering from Villanova and a master's degree in the same. He's licensed in both Massachusetts and New Jersey and is here with us this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Schrieffer, would you like to say a few words? Sure. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Oh yeah, that's no problem. Happy to be able to contribute to Braintree. I've been doing stormwater and site engineering for 12 years, my whole career now. And it seems like an easy spot to contribute to a town that is going to be the home for me and my family for a long time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here again. Any counselors have comments or questions? Counselor Reynolds?
Pardon me, I just want to point out that I think also the resume of this new appointee is outstanding. We are very fortunate to have a person of this skill level performing in this very important role. I believe that his skill set could probably be utilized across other boards as well, but we're very happy that you have volunteered to serve our town on the COMCOM. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Counselor Reynolds. Counselor Ringus?
I think just echoing the sentiments of what we indicated when just approving Attorney Johnson for his position. Thank you again for your willingness to serve. Obviously, people don't always realize these are unpaid positions. This is time away. Obviously, you indicated you have a family. This is time away from your family, and obviously dedication to your community. So we thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you, and I will echo those sentiments. Really appreciate you being here, and the Conservation Commission serves such a critical role for protecting Braintree's environment and waterways and water bodies, and your expertise will be very welcome. So I appreciate your willingness to serve. Anyone else? Is there a motion?
Motion, upon the request of His Honor, the Mayor of the Town of Braintree, through the Braintree Town Council, in accordance with Sections 3-3 of the Charter of the Town of Braintree, to approve the appointment of Will Schrieffer to the Conservation Commission. So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin? Counselor Maglio? Aye. Counselor O'Brien? Aye. Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Congratulations, and thank you again, Mr. Schrieffer. All right, moving backwards, 23065, Mayor, appointment of Christopher Griffin to the Massachusetts Port Authority Community Advisory Committee, or take up any action relative thereto. Counselor Reynolds, Chair of our Ways and Means Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee of Ways and Means met and voted unanimously for a favorable recommendation to the full council on Order 23065.
Thank you very much. Chief of Staff LaForest, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. Another candidate well known to this body, Christopher Griffin, has had years of professional service to our community. He came recommended from Sandra Kuntz. Sandra has served on this board since it was formed in 2014 and suggested to the mayor, Chris, to be a candidate, and he was quite interested in serving. We have commended Sandra for her time and service for our community and bring forth to you Christopher Griffin. And unfortunately, he is unable to be with us this evening. You know, he's been someone who, particularly over this past year, every time we've needed him, has stepped up, said yes. His answer is always yes, but was disappointed he can't be with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Chief of Staff LaForest, and certainly know Chris from around town, so I will ask if there's any questions or comments from councilors. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam President. I think this is an excellent choice. for this advisory committee. And the reason I say that is that this job is to represent the concerns and interests of the constituents of the town of Braintree as it applies to Mass Port Authority and its advisory committee for their operations and their impacts upon our community and surrounding communities. Particularly, one of the larger issues is plane traffic, which is a quality of life issue. And, you know, I want to take this opportunity also to thank the incredible work that Sandra Coons, her dedication in this role since 2014. She has performed exceptional service in representing the interests of the town of Braintree. It can be a difficult job representing constituents' concerns and requests. Chris has got an extensive amount, or Mr. Griffin has an extensive amount of experience in that as an employee for the town of Braintree, starting working in the mayor's office as his aide. I had the opportunity to work with Christopher, saw exactly how effective he was and his ability to articulate or to capture and articulate the concerns of our citizens, and I think he'll serve this community very well in that capacity.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. Motion? Is there a motion?
Motion upon the request of His Honor, the Mayor of the Town of Braintree through the Braintree Town Council in accordance with Sections 3-3 of the Charter of the Town of Braintree to approve the appointment of Christopher Griffin to the Massachusetts Port Authority Community Advisory Committee. So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio? Aye. Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. And in absentia, thank you to Mr. Griffin for his willingness to serve on this board. Appreciate that. Okay, all right, moving on. 23067, Mayor, appointment Dave Storlazzi to the Planning Board or take up any action relative thereto. I will again turn to Councilor Reynolds, Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, for that committee's recommendation. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam President. Last evening, the Ways and Means Committee met to review Order 23067. That vote was a unfavorable recommendation. There was a favorable motion that was made. However, that vote was 1-2 and went down.
Thank you very much, Councilor Reynolds. Chief of Staff LaForest.
Thank you, Madam President. The mayor presents before you David Storlazzi for the Planning Board. Dave Storlazzi's raising the third generation of his family here in Braintree, born and raised himself. He has owned and operated his own small business for over 25 years. His business, one of what has been brought to my attention is the diligence and support he gave his payroll clients through processing of PPP loans and COVID relief. And it is that same diligence we expect we will have received from him in his review at the Planning Board projects. He has extensive volunteer experience coaching and serving on boards of local sports for his family, and has recently sold his company and offered to step up and serve our community. I think it's important to recognize that you've all mentioned it in your remarks this evening about the time and commitment it takes and how important it is to have engaged residents in our community. So unfortunately, as the dates were presented for Ways and Means and for this body, Mr. Storlazzi was not available to join us. I do know Councilor Maglio last evening had asked for an opportunity, not knowing Mr. Storlazzi, to speak with him today, and I believe he did reach out and have a conversation as to maybe some additional members of this body as well.
Thank you very much, Chief of Staff LaForest. And just for folks watching at home, one of the, I'm losing the word, elements of the charter or sections of the charter does state that for mayoral appointments, so for department heads, for boards and commission chairs, there is a 30-day window. So once the council receives the paperwork, we have 30 days to approve or vote on the appointment. And after that time, if it's not done within 30 days, the appointment becomes effective. So Sometimes these things happen when people are, unfortunately, their schedules don't work with the council meetings, and we're on a strict timeline, and that is by order of the charter, not from any other reason other than that. So I just want to make that clear, because I know I had to go back and look at it myself, so just to provide that clarification for folks. So with that, is there any questions or comments from councilors? Councilor Reynolds?
Thank you, Madam President. Last evening, we went through quite a bit of conversation regarding this appointment. First of all, it was unanimous amongst all the members of the Ways and Means Committee that they applauded and thanked Mr. Stolazzi's willingness to serve, as we have spoken about earlier in other appointments, on this board. The planning board, I think I have a very unique experience here amongst my peers, as I served on that planning board for 13 years, 10 of them as the vice chairman. I understand clearly what the role requires of individuals. This is, in my opinion, the premier appointed board in the town of Braintree. The impact of the decisions and the means of deliberation by the planning board have far, far-reaching effects on our community from an economic standpoint and, most importantly, a quality of life. I ran for the planning board in 1993 because the town and the planning board at that time was continuously being sued for appeals on decisions that were deemed to be arbitrary and capricious. That meant that the decisions and denials made by that board did not adhere to our zoning laws, were not steeped in our zoning laws. The zoning laws themselves are another question that has been pointed out in our Master Plan Steering Committee report, that they are archaic, they are very confusing, very convoluted due to the amount of changes, one-off changes that were made to all major components of that document, which has made the job of the planning board even more difficult. And I have to applaud the past and current planning directors and the efforts and the work they had to put in to condition these projects when they were passed, or if they were difficult, that allowed our town to express our concerns and to be able to make sure that those conditions were represented in a document, in a permit approval to preserve the quality of life that we have in our town. That is a story as far as the zoning ordinances themselves go for another day. However, what that illustrates is that I'm trying to say is that it takes quite a bit of work and understanding to understand the complexity of these decisions and the impact that these decisions make on our community, is protecting our community both financially, economically, or I should say to include financially, economically, and quality of life. That being said, I am very confused why the mayor chose an individual who has no experience or understanding of zoning to sit as a voting member on this planning board. We have right now as an alternate member someone who has multiple years of experience, who works in the field of economic development and planning, who has sat, as I said, for multiple years, who is an ideal candidate to represent this community in the manner in which I just spelt out and the importance and the difficulty of it. Instead, this mayor has chosen to take someone with no experience, and this is not a knock on Mr. Stolazzi. I applaud and I thank him for his willingness to serve his community, as other councilors have stated about previous appointees this evening. However, he has been put in a very difficult situation by the choice of the mayor to elevate him into a voting position of prominence over eminently more qualified candidate that is already existing and is a member of that board. The rationale, I don't know, and I don't have the opportunity to ask the mayor what his mindset was. He's not here this evening, which I'm disappointed, because this is a premier board. He sat on that board. he should understand that it takes quite a bit of a time and effort, time to understand these laws, to understand these rules, to apply them in a fair, even-handed, equitable fashion. That does not mean that Mr. Storlazzi is someone who is not fair or who is inequitable, but he does not contain or possess the experience or the skill to handle this job. I think he would be better if he was served as the alternate, where he could be afforded the opportunity to learn, to understand, and to observe. I'm just very, very confused on the rationale, and I wish the mayor was here to represent that. And I will ask the chief of staff, who unfortunately you're put in a position to tell us what exactly the mayor has to say, but we do not have the opportunity to question his rationale and his responses. Again, this is an extremely, extremely important position. So, with that, you know, this whole process has, let's just say, has not been optimal. Delays in getting information, trying to understand what the qualifications are, and getting a resume 1 hour before last evening's meeting did not help matters. Hence why we had the time that it took to finish and come up with some kind of a solution here. We have subsequently been told that the mayor will not withdraw this or change his mind. The mayor does that at his own peril, and it shows very poor judgment about what this community deserves in a very, very important role. Again, this does not reflect on Mr. Storlazzi's character or his intelligence or his ability to adapt and learn about what zoning is. Therefore, I think it was very, very appropriate for this committee, or the Committee of Ways and Means and individual members, to be able to offer he should be somebody and an alternate member to allow him to learn. The mayor has chosen to put an inexperienced, unqualified individual immediately into a voting position. I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Storlazzi today. He seems like a very fine person. His heart is in the right place. However, he had in no way was able to convince me any understanding of zoning, tables of uses, permitting process, special site plan review, and, you know, to have someone have to sit on a board and then vote next month, I fail to see the rationale. So, with that, I will not be voting in favor of Mr. Storlazzi's appointment as a voting member. If this was an alternate member, I would vote for him.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. And just to clarify, we did get a legal opinion. How board members are appointed, whether alternate or voting, is not within the purview of the council. That is within the purview of the mayor's office. So just to clarify, the council did look into that, did get a legal opinion, and we appreciate the diligence of the Committee of Ways and Means last evening. Yes, thank you, Clerk Semino. Councilor Ryan?
Councilor Ryan, you want to speak?
Councilor Ryan.
Yes, please. I happen to know Dave very well. He's been a resident of Braintree for a very long time. He's raised his family here, and I think it's very important that we have residents on these boards that are residents that can give the residents' perspective. So maybe he's not a subject matter expert yet, but I think a lot of us, when we first served on boards, we learned the job. So I will be fully supporting him tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. Councilor Hume?
Thank you, Madam President. Couple of points. I had submitted questions on September 18th and to date still have not been answered, one of which was asking for a resume and why Mr. Storlazzi was chosen. We did get the resume last night, and full disclosure, I've known Dave Storlazzi since middle school. We went to middle school, high school, our kids were friends, great guy, very nice, volunteered in the community. I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Storlazzi earlier. He reached out to me, which in all the years I've ever been on any of these boards, no appointment has ever reached out to me. It's always been through the mayor's office. So that in of itself was unique. I commend Dave and thank him and all residents who step up for appointments on boards, and talking to him about what made him get interested. And because, you know, some of the questions I wanted to ask, had asked submitted through the mayor's office, I basically had to ask him himself, like, why are you getting involved? We have 40,000 residents in this community, and we have very few boards, very few people running for elected office, and never mind volunteering. So the fact that he's putting himself out there is amazing, and I appreciate that, and I thank him for it. It's a bad situation he was put into, because I'm on the Charter Review Committee, and we had a meeting last week. And one of the things we were talking about is appointments by the mayor's office and the planning board and things like that. And I said then, before this agenda came out, I think the planning board is one of the most important boards, if not the important board. And I sit here on the council, I've sat on the school committee, especially with the future of what this town needs and where things are going to be going, and stuff that's going to be coming before the planning board, the master plan, all that. I just want to read a part of the charter, too, that stuck out to me, and this is section 3.3, which we've had a lot of votes on this, appointments by the mayor. All appointments and promotions made by the mayor shall be made on the basis of merit and fitness demonstrated by examination, past performance, or by other evidence of competency and suitability. And one of my questions was, like, what skills does he bring? And this is no slight to Dave. Dave's got an impressive resume, ran his own business, very, very much involved. I'm going to take Dave out of this because, again, I don't think it's fair the position he's been put in. But such an important, crucial role. And if you know, and I believe this is the fulfillment of Erin Joyce's vacancy. Is that correct? On the planning board? The knowledge she brought, being an engineer, and the base and institutional knowledge, those are huge shoes to fill. And what we're being presented with is, in my opinion, I just cannot support this. And again, nothing, I feel bad for Dave, and I apologize to Dave that he was put in this position. Thank him again for stepping up, and you know, he was doing the right thing, and I totally support that and agree with that. I don't think it was fair, and I'm not going to be supporting this tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Hume. Any other comments or Councilor Maglio, did you have your hand? I'm sorry. Yep.
Yes. Thank you. I'm a member of the Ways and Means Committee, and I was at the meeting last night. And I too would have liked an opportunity to hear from the mayor, either last night or tonight, but he's not here. To hear from the candidate last night or tonight with all of my peers, but he's not here. I was able to speak to him today, and he is a very nice man. And he is very proud of the fact that he lives in Braintree, and he went to Braintree High School, and his children went to Braintree High School, and I think that's fantastic. But I think what we're looking at is an appointment for the planning board. And the planning board has very specific and important and critical work to do. And I don't think that's where you create a learning curve when there's absolutely nothing in someone's background that would lend themselves to being on the planning board. In my conversation, what came through is that he wants to help. He wants to make a contribution. And I think there are so many places in the town where his skills, running a business, taking care of all of those paperwork, where his skills would fit beautifully with some of the other needs of committees and commissions in town. And they just don't fit at all with the planning board. And so I am left to wonder, why are we skipping over the person who's currently in the alternate seat, who has been sitting there for 2 years, who brings with her 20 years of doing this exact work? She's been sitting on the planning board for 2 years, and she's not being considered to be moved up. And I don't understand that. And to be told it's the will of the mayor, okay, but Why? What is that based on is something that I really need to know. I also would like to know, what is the impact of this? And when we pulled past minutes, some of them were nominated as an alternate, some of them it didn't say. None of them seem to have term limits, but this one now seems to be having term limits, a 3-year term limit, and I would just like some information on why that's being added in, because last we heard it was resolved, then it wasn't resolved, and now this is how it's going to be resolved. So getting a little bit of information on that, knowing specifically why we're literally skipping over someone who's been doing the work for 2 years without a vote, who has this exact expertise, and why this couldn't wait another meeting to be able to go through this. I think it's very unfair to put someone's name forward when there are so many questions and unresolved issues. And I don't think that's fair to the candidate. I don't think it's fair to us. We're spending a second night on this, going over and over, and this poor man who just wants to help out is now the subject of all of this discussion and all of this audio and all of this video, and it seems like there was a better way to handle this. I will not be supporting him on this vote either.
Thank you, Councilor Maglio. Councilor Flaherty?
So the irregularity with this particular appointment is that neither the Ways and Means Committee nor the full council has had the opportunity to meet the appointee in a formal way to ask questions about relevant experience. Some people have known him for a very long time. He reached out to some people. I have never met him. And I cannot, in good faith, cast a vote for someone that I have never met. But it's not Mr. Storlazzi's responsibility to forge that. It is the responsibility of the administration to create an appropriate opportunity for either the Ways and Means Committee or the full council to meet the appointee, to ask the relevant questions and review what he brings to the table. And the failure to do so represents a glaring absence of respect for the process as it is outlined in the charter. My position is that I can't vote for a person that I have never met.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Ringus?
There's obviously been some arguments here both ways. I will be echoing the sentiments of Councilor Ryan, and I will be supporting the choice tonight. We've talked about a lot of different things here. Obviously, we are in the midst of a charter review, and there's some things that we could possibly look to fix as we move forward with the charter. In terms of this appointment, we do have to rely on the charter as it currently exists. And if an appointment isn't voted on one way or another within 30 days, then that becomes the appointment. So we find ourselves at Ways and Means last night and here tonight. Mr. Storlazzi is willing to serve. We have talked tonight in various appointments about how when someone steps up, it is time away from family, time away from other activities, and it is clearly an indication of their dedication to their community. So I appreciate, like I said, in one of our past appointees tonight, I appreciate that. And I think we all appreciate that because we have all done that in some capacity. I do agree that the planning board is sort of the preeminent appointed board within the town, and it does have a significant impact on many things throughout our community. I think it becoming an appointed board under the charter, when the charter was formulated in 08, was in part, I think, due to what Councilor Reynolds sort of alluded to with when he ran for that board, because there was various findings against the town or lawsuits against the town that some of the decisions being made in that prior time were arbitrary and capricious and not related to the zoning laws as they existed. And that is what sometimes might happen when you have an elected planning board, is that if there is sort of a rise against a certain type of development, people get elected, and then they make decisions not necessarily based in law, but more on emotions. And I think that's what led us to perhaps, when the charter was created, to making this an appointed board. So as such, as it exists as an appointed board, the mayor is the appointer, and we are sort of have the ability to sort of vote on those. With that said, again, we talked a little bit about subject matter expertise, and there is something to be said for subject matter expertise. I think the current makeup of the planning board is one that does have a significant amount of subject matter expertise on it, and there is something to be said for a learning curve. I think I was in my early 20s, my daughter hadn't started school when I first was elected to the school committee. And I had to learn a lot along the way on exactly how to budget and the various things that went along with the school committee. And I got to work. Councilor Hume joined me the same year. And it was a learning curve, I think, for both of us, thinking back to the first night trying to get something seconded. With that said, where we do have certain subject matter experts already existing on the planning board, there is always a role, I think, for someone that will serve as the voice of the residents. And again, I'm not sort of negating what I just said, that you can't have an entire board made up of emotional folks, but there is something to be said for having someone that is there just to speak for the residents and maybe isn't of that same subject matter expertise as other members of the board. If we look at the makeup of our board here, you know, each of us has perhaps a subject matter expertise, and maybe we are weaker in other areas, and we are able to still offer opinions and sit here and vote on every other Tuesday night. So with that said, again, I don't see a reason that I would vote against Mr. Sterlazzi. I think the only other piece I would address is we sort of started to go down a slippery slope, I think a little bit respectfully to some of my other counselors, instead of talking about someone else. And I think that has never been the way that we approach these appointments. We don't necessarily say, hey, this person should have been appointed over this person. We've never done that appointment. Our job here in the council, the way I see it and the way I read it from the charter, is to yay or nay the person that is presented to us, not to present another opportunity. If this person isn't appointed, perhaps there's a way to do that. If there's changes to the charter, perhaps there's a way to do this. But as it is codified now, our job is only to vote yay or nay, not to offer alternates. And I think there is something to be said that we have had, I know, in my sitting here on this board, when Ms. Croha was appointed to the board, I believe that the alternate at the time was jumped over as well. So there is some historical reference for an alternate not being appointed to the full board. So with that said, I would be supportive of Mr. Sterlazzi tonight. It's not to say that we don't have to, and I look forward to, I think we have some digging in to do with the charter as we move forward, and perhaps amending some of the pieces. But I think as it is codified and exists today, I would approve this.
Thank you very much, Councilor Ringus. Comments? I will just, Councilor Reynolds for the second time,
Yes,
briefly.
please. Question and just a point of clarification on some of the comments made here this evening. So qualifications of the planning board are eminently important. One vote can make the difference between a denial and an approval, which puts us in a position, if a person is not qualified and votes on a motion, which we have no idea what the perspective that this candidate would bring to the planning board with no experience whatsoever in zoning. That puts us in jeopardy. When you do not, when a planning board decision is appealed and it's turned over because of those facts that I just stated, even if any appeal turns over a decision, we lose all rights as a community and as a planning board to condition that project. That is huge. That is a significant impact that can impact this community for decades. I think the charter doesn't need to be changed. The language on this particular issue. The language in the charter gives us an option. I'm an elected official.
Councilor, your point? Please
My
get to your point.
My point is this. I want to refute some of the reasons and rationale behind, you know,
Councilor,
Kim
get to your point, please.
Kim Crowa was as far as
Councilor,
precedents go. Madam Chair, please.
Councilor, we're not going to.
I'm making a point,
Please
Madam
refrain
Chair.
from speaking about other community members. Go right
Well,
ahead. Finish your
just
point.
all evening we've been speaking about other community members.
Finish
So
your
please be
point,
consistent.
Councilor.
Please be consistent. So, Member Croha does for a living is a real estate and development lawyer. So that precedent doesn't cut it with me. The qualifications that someone lived here for 3 generations doesn't cut it for me as a planning board member. Why are you, I mean, it's just, it's beyond rationale that you're going to put someone with no experience, and as other speakers have spoken about, what we have ahead of us is critically important to do. What's at stake for us? I'm an elected counselor. I represent the people in my district. And when I make a vote on this, I'm representing my residents. Precedents or not. I have the courage to say something when the emperor has no clothes. And in this case, the emperor has no clothes. Thank you.
Councilor Ringus?
I just want to
For the second time.
I appreciate the emotion that you're bringing to this, and I appreciate from the perspective that you bring why you are so, why you want this decision to go this way. I understand completely, and I'm not trying to refute anything you said. I was offering my own perspective, and if that didn't come across, then my apologies for that. In pointing to Ms. Crowhock, and I brought that up, so I approved Ms. Crowhock's appointment. There was a segment of the council at the time that attempted to stop her appointment. I voted for her. I believe there was some talk at the time that because she had represented developers, that she shouldn't be on the board, and I responded that that gave her eminent qualifications. We can't hold it against someone that their day job might represent, a certain element. And as an attorney, I understood that. Here, I was just using that as point of perspective, that there has been precedence where an alternate was not elevated to the point of full board, because I believe at that time there was an alternate that was not elevated. That was the only perspective I was attempting to bring to that, because I think there was talk earlier in the comments that why are we jumping over someone? I was historical perspective where indeed someone was passed over. That is not to reflect negative on anyone else. Again, I do agree. There is this is important, but I do believe that there is in every board the ability to have a person that is there to represent the residents. In any board that we have, whether it be the school committee or elected positions, whether it be any board that's appointed, obviously zoning board as well, decisions, if the school committee makes an error in a human resource, if an elected school committee member speaks out of turn on a human resource issue, if we speak out of turn on a human resource issue, that can have legal implications that can affect the town for years to come. So any and all boards that anyone is elected or appointed to have the ability to negatively affect the town if a poor decision is made. So I am, again, supporting Mr. Storlazzi on the basis of an individual that is wanting to be involved, that has contributed to this community in many different ways, and I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to work to make correct decisions in this position if he is indeed appointed to it. And that is not a shot at anyone else on this board or anyone else elsewhere.
Thank you, Councilor Ringus.
Point of information, Councilor Barrica. So just to clarify, everyone else on the planning board is also a resident of Braintree, correct?
As far as I know, yeah.
Correct.
So everyone is a resident, but just by saying that he's being put on as a resident, it just might give people who are watching this the impression that other members of the planning board are not residents, but they are all residents, right? Yes. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Councilor Maglio. Okay, thank you for that spirited discussion. I will just add my own thoughts on this, and again, I appreciate the work done by the Ways and Means Committee last night. I did sit in on that meeting to listen to the discussion, and it was useful. So I would like to, in my opinion, all of our boards and commissions are premier. I think the council is the premier board, but someone else might disagree with me. And all of our planning board members, in my opinion, have served with great diligence and attention. And while I do believe there is a nice opportunity to give people to learn the ropes as an alternate before they become more tenured and full voting members, That is not within the purview of the council. And that said, that decision falls squarely with the mayor and is outside the purview of this body. I, in agreement with Councilor Ringus and Councilor Ryan this evening, I take great humility in the fact that people can learn. I know how much I have learned in this role, and while you might not have the background on paper, coming with an open mind and intellectual curiosity, the humility to ask questions, that's what we need to get the job done. And I have no doubt that Mr. Storlazzi will be able to perform in that capacity. And I will be supporting his appointment this evening. And again, very grateful for any and all residents, their willingness to serve on our boards and commissions, or as elected officials at other bodies as well. So thank you very much.
I have a second point of information, if I may. So also in terms of the voice of residents, there are public hearings associated with the planning board, correct? Their meetings are open. Residents are able to participate in all meetings.
All public meetings are
All
open to the
public
public.
meetings are open to the public, so that's another really important way that residents can be heard at the planning board. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yep. Thank you, Councilor Maglio. Is there a motion?
Motion upon the request of His Honor, the Mayor of the Town of Braintree through the Braintree Town Council in accordance with Section 3-3 of the Charter of the Town of Braintree to approve the appointment of Dave Storlazzi to the Planning Board.
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
No.
Counselor Hume?
No.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
No.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
No.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, and please thank Mr. Storlazzi. Okay, moving on to our final voting item for this evening, 23068, Mayor, acceptance of donations or take up any action relative thereto. Again, busy night for the Ways and Means Committee. Chair Reynolds, I will refer to you for your committee's recommendation on the donations.
Last evening, the Ways and Means Committee met and voted unanimously for favorable recommendations of the full council on Order 23068.
Thank you very much. Chief of Staff LaForest.
Madam President, this is a donation from the Braintree Farmers Market. This is to the Braintree Emergency Management. This is $500 in support of their efforts, being extra sets of hands at the market all season, whether it's from parking and setup and breakdown. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone from the council wish to speak? I'll just say also thank you so much to both the Farmers Market for their generosity and donation and to BEMA for all their efforts in making sure every single Saturday goes off without a hitch. I'm really grateful for both of these organizations in town. Is there a motion?
That the Town of Braintree be and hereby is authorized in accordance with Section 53A of Chapter 44 of the Massachusetts General Laws to accept the following gift upon the conditions attached and herein set forth. The donor, Braintree Farmers Market, the gift of $500. The purpose for the Braintree Emergency Management Agency. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. We have no new business this evening, so with that, I would like to thank, as always, our fantastic team from BCAM, Bill Needham and Jerry Comack, for bringing us to the residents in your pocket, on your phone, on your TV, or on your computer. So thank you, BCAM team. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilors Hume and Ringus. Roll call to adjourn, please.
Counselor Barrica?
Yes.
Counselor Flaherty?
Yes.
Counselor Hume?
Aye.
Counselor Mackin?
Aye.
Counselor Maglio?
Aye.
Counselor O'Brien?
Aye.
Counselor Reynolds?
Aye.
Counselor Ringus?
Aye.
Counselor Ryan?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.